Have you ever wondered about the Israel-Palestine conflict? An issue that has captivated the world's attention for decades? In this video, we aim to break it down into 10 simple questions, providing you with a comprehensive understanding of the historical, political, and social dynamics at play. Our first question is fundamental. What is Palestine today? Palestine is divided into two main parts, the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. They do not share a border with each other, but together they make up the state of Palestine as we know it today. The total area is more than 6,000 square kilometers. In terms of political status, Palestine is recognized as a sovereign state by more than half of the United Nations member country. However, it is not a member of the UN itself. The state of Palestine has been an observer state since 2012, which means it can participate in General Assembly debates but cannot vote. The territories of Gaza and the West Bank are under Israeli occupation, with limited self-rule in certain areas. It's a contentious issue, with ongoing debates, governance, and the rights of people living there. This brings us to our next question. Where exactly can we find Palestine on the map? It's a question often asked, and the answer is quite simple. Nestled in the eastern Mediterranean region, Palestine is strategically located at the crossroads of Africa, Asia, and Europe. This region, historically rich and diverse, is bordered by the Mediterranean Sea to the west, giving it a picturesque coastline. To the north and east, it shares borders with the country of Lebanon and the Jordan River respectively. To the south, it's bordered by Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. Its geographical neighbors include Israel, with which it shares complex and often tense borders. The territories often referred to as Palestine include the West Bank, located west of the Jordan River, and the Gaza Strip, situated along the Mediterranean coast. This location at the intersection of continents has made Palestine a focal point in history and continues to shape its present and future. Now that we know where it is, the next question is, does Palestine have the markers of a nation? This question may seem straightforward, but it's complex, and the answer depends on the criteria you use to define statehood. According to the Montevideo Convention of 1933, a state should possess a permanent population, a defined territory, a government, and the capacity to enter into relations with other states. Now let's see how Palestine fits into these criteria. Firstly, Palestine indeed has a permanent population, with millions of Palestinians living within its borders. Secondly, while its territory is a subject of ongoing dispute, the areas known as the West Bank and Gaza Strip are generally recognized as Palestinian territories. Thirdly, Palestine has a functioning government, the Palestinian Authority, which manages internal affairs. Lastly, Palestine has sought and achieved recognition from several states worldwide and is a non-member observer state in the United Nations. However, it's important to note that statehood is not merely a matter of meeting criteria. International recognition plays a crucial role too. So, who holds the reins in Palestine? Let's dive into this. Palestine's political landscape is a complex one, marked by the presence of two major entities, the Palestinian Authority and Hamas. The Palestinian Authority, established under the Oslo Accords in the mid-90s, holds sway in parts of the West Bank. Its primary goal is to establish a Palestinian state through peace negotiations. On the other hand, we have Hamas, an Islamist political organization that gained control over the Gaza Strip in 2007. Unlike the Palestinian Authority, Hamas has, at times, been known to advocate for the establishment of a Palestinian state through more forceful means. These two entities, with their differing ideologies and methods, represent the dual face of Palestinian governance. It's a delicate balance of power, with each entity seeking to achieve its vision of a Palestinian state. It's important to note that this intricate political scenario is further complicated by the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which continues to shape and influence who rules in Palestine. Knowing who rules brings us to the question of whom they rule. How many people are we actually talking about in this conflict? The population of Palestine is a mix of various ethnicities, religions, and age groups, making it a diverse terrain. What's more, the demographics have been significantly influenced by the ongoing conflict and political instability. The West Bank and Gaza Strip, the two main regions of Palestine, are home to approximately 5 million people. That's more than the population of Norway. The majority of these individuals are of Palestinian Arab descent, while a small portion is Jewish settlers, but that's not the whole story. There are also millions of Palestinian refugees scattered across the globe. These individuals, driven out of their homelands by war and conflict, have found refuge in neighboring countries like Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. So when we talk about the Israel-Palestine conflict, we're not just talking about a political or territorial dispute. We're talking about the lives of millions of people, each with their unique experiences, hopes, and dreams. Understanding the population leads us to their aspirations. What do all these people want? A question as diverse as the individuals it pertains to. The aspirations and demands of the Palestinian people are not monolithic, they vary, reflecting the rich tapestry of identities, histories, and experiences that make up this population. At the heart of many of these aspirations is a call for statehood, a desire for a recognized sovereign Palestinian state where their national, cultural, and political identities can thrive unimpeded. This aspiration is not just a political one, but a deeply personal one, tied to their sense of self and community. But for many, their demands go beyond statehood. There's a longing for the right of return, a yearning to go back to the homes and lands their families were displaced from. This is more than a plea for justice, it's a quest for closure, for the right to revisit their roots and reclaim their history. These are but two of the myriad desires of the Palestinian people. Yet, they provide a glimpse into the complexity and depth of their aspirations, hinting at the rich, diverse tapestry of hopes, dreams, and demands that underpin this population. What are the ongoing struggles in this conflict? The Israel-Palestine conflict is a complex web of intertwined issues, each more intricate than the last. At the heart of these struggles lie territorial disputes. Both sides lay claim to the same land, each with historical, religious, and political reasons to support their claims. This has resulted in a perpetual tug-of-war, with borders and control of areas constantly shifting. Another significant issue is the ongoing violence. This is not merely a political conflict, but a human one, with lives lost and families torn apart. From rocket attacks to retaliatory strikes, the cycle of violence seems unending. Human rights concerns also play a pivotal role in these struggles. The inhabitants of these disputed territories often find themselves in precarious situations. Access to basic necessities like water, healthcare, and education is frequently disrupted, creating a humanitarian crisis. The struggles are many and multifaceted, each one posing a challenge to the goal of achieving lasting peace in the region. The role of Hamas is crucial to understanding these struggles. What role does Hamas play in this conflict? It's a question that often surfaces when discussing the Israel-Palestine conflict. Hamas, an acronym for Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyah, or Islamic Resistance Movement, was born in the late 1980s during the First Intifada, an uprising against Israeli occupation. The organization was conceived with a dual purpose in mind: to serve as a social service provider for Palestinians and as a militant body resisting Israeli occupation. Hamas's goals are articulated in its charter: the establishment of an Islamic state in Palestine, the complete liberation of Palestine, and the eradication of Zionism. However, it's worth noting that these goals have been subject to interpretation and debate over the years. Hamas wields considerable influence in the conflict. Its political arm has been governing the Gaza Strip since 2007, and its military wing continues to engage in armed conflicts with Israel. What are the dreams of freedom in this conflict? In the heart of the Israel-Palestine conflict, amidst the turmoil and strife, a dream flickers. This dream is the aspiration of the Palestinian people for independence, for the freedom to govern themselves, to live without fear, and to thrive on their own terms. It's important to remember that these dreams are not uniform. They range from the desire for complete sovereignty to a longing for peaceful cohabitation with their Israeli neighbors. For some, freedom means the right to return to homes their families were displaced from. For others, it's about achieving social, economic, and political rights that are often taken for granted elsewhere. Despite the differences in their dreams, one common thread binds them: the yearning for dignity and self-determination. This yearning is fueled by the belief that every person deserves the chance to shape their destiny, to live free from oppression, and to contribute to their society in meaningful ways. As we delve deeper into the complexities of this conflict, it's vital to keep these dreams in mind. They remind us of the human element, of the hopes and fears that underpin the political dynamics. This leads us to our final question. Finally, why is this conflict so complex? Well, it's like a puzzle with 1,000 pieces, each piece representing a different aspect of the issue. At its heart, the Israel-Palestine conflict is rooted in historical disputes, tangled in a web of political maneuvering, and deeply entrenched in societal discord. The historical layer dates back to ancient times when both Jewish and Arab communities claimed ownership over the same land. This age-old contention has been passed down through generations, each one further complicating the issue. The political facet of the conflict is just as intricate. It's a chess game of power, with different local, regional, and international players making moves that affect the entire board. Each decision, each strategy, adds another layer to the complexity. And let's not forget the societal aspect, which is perhaps the most complex of all. It's about people, their identities, their beliefs, their fears, and their hopes. It's about the narratives they've been told, and the narratives they tell themselves. This is where the human heart of the conflict lies. In sum, the Israel-Palestine conflict is an elaborate tapestry woven from threads of history, politics, and society. Each thread is intertwined with the others, creating a pattern that's as intricate as it is elusive. We hope this video has shed some light on the Israel-Palestine conflict. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative content.